Welcome. My name is Jennifer Lewis, and I'm the worship associate this morning and part of the team that is working to record and stream this service to you, wherever you may be. We are an inclusive congregation that welcomes you as you are, inclusive of your identities, complexities, and situations. We welcome your whole self, even if it isn't fully assembled, because we recognize that we are all a work in progress and that we are in this together. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, for these high purposes do we unite in worship. We light this chalice, the beacon that calls us to love, to justice, to a deepening of the Spirit.
Welcome. Welcome to this day, this hour, this place, this body. Together, we will answer a call to love. Together, we will create a thing of great beauty. Together, we may find the sacred in the spaces in between. Together, we will worship. Welcome. And now, here's a time for all ages, a story for everyone. Children, come a little closer. This is based on an old story told by a wise man named Aesop, but we're going to take it a little farther. Once upon a time, out in a meadow, a grasshopper sat on top of a blade of grass and sang a song of beauty. Oh, what a beautiful grass. Oh, what a beautiful sky. Oh, what a beautiful all around me. Oh, what a beautiful by and by. Now, just as the grasshopper finished its song, it looked down and it saw an ant trudging along. This is a hard-working ant, and it was carrying a huge piece of grain on its back. Trudge, trudge, trudge. Grasshopper called to the ant and said, "Ant, will you join me in a wonderful song?" The ant paused just a moment, looked up and said, "No, I've got a lot of work to do. Don't you understand? Winter is coming. If we don't store up some grain, we'll all die." Grasshopper thought that was pretty sweet, pretty funny. He said, "But come on, I bet you have a lovely singing voice, and with all those feet, you could probably do some great dances." Ant humphed and kept on trudging. "Just you wait and see." And that's the way the whole summer went. Grasshopper singing a song to everyone, and that hard-working ant trudging along carrying the grain, along with all the other ants. Then, like the ant had prophesied, sure enough, winter came. A cold wind blew, and all of the grass dried up. The grasshopper found itself knocking on the home where the ants lived. And when a welcoming ant opened the door, there was Grasshopper, shivering and thin and hungry. Grasshopper said, "Ants, do you have any food?" The welcoming ant said, "Well, yeah, actually, we've got a lot. We worked hard, and we do have a lot of food available." Grasshopper said, "Would you share some of your food?" At that point, the hard-working ant came along and said, Whoa, Buster, you spent the whole summer singing and dancing, and you didn't put any food by, did you? Welcoming ant said, "Sister, we've got a lot of food. We've got enough to share." And with that, the welcoming ant ushered in the grasshopper, showed the grasshopper to the table, and the grasshopper began to eat. Ate all it could possibly eat. And then when the grasshopper finished and let out a big belch and started to laugh, and then the grasshopper started clapping a couple of its hands. And then the grasshopper started whistling a tune, and then the grasshopper started to make a little merry fiddling with its wings. The ants looked up. The grasshopper began to sing a song. "Oh, the ants are the very best insects. The ants are the very best ones, because they're welcoming, because they're generous, because they're the very best ones." And then everybody laughed. And soon the ants found that the more the grasshopper sang, they all felt like dancing. And they started singing songs too. And that's the way the whole evening went, was singing and dancing. And the grasshopper taught the ants some new dances. And sure enough, even a hard-working ant found that when she wasn't carrying something heavy, she could actually dance pretty good with all of those feet. That's how they spent the whole winter, with the grasshopper providing them with songs and stories, and the ants joining in and having a good time. It made the winter months go by so much nicer. So, I want you to think, if you've done something that maybe didn't seem like it was useful, maybe it still had a purpose. All right. I love you all so much. I know you're growing well and wise, and I look forward to when I see you again next time. Be well.
Our congregation has a mission. Please join me in saying these words together. Our spiritual community lives courage, nurtures wonder, inspires justice, includes all.
At this time in our service, we lift up the joys, concerns, and other considerations of our community. This is a candle of joy. Joy for the work that this congregation did last week in electing a new board of trustees. I am so very proud of the good work that everyone did to come together for that election. This is a candle of frustration. The Lewis family is really disappointed and very frustrated with their insurance company that is not doing what it needs to do, paying for what it said it would pay for. This is a candle of gratitude for Sarah Christensen, who for many months has been the person coordinating our newsletter. Every Friday morning it came out because of Sarah's hard work. She's stepping back from that work at this time, but I want her to know how very much we appreciate all that she did. You really contributed a good thing to our community. Thank you, Sarah. This is a candle of concern for a friend of many of us. Bethania has COVID. She is getting better, but it's taking a long time. It hit her pretty hard. So we want Bethania to know she is in our hearts. And I will light finally one candle for all of the joys, concerns, and considerations that were not shared with us, yet are held deeply in our hearts. Now, let us take a moment to follow our breath into those places we might have rushed past all week. With each breath, I invite you to go deeper and find that part of your own center that needs attention. Breathing in, breathing out. Settle down. Now, settle down again. Now, just stop. Stop trying to do good in the world. Stop trying to do good. Stop trying. Stop. Just take a breath. Take another breath. And then take inventory of all the thoughts that are rising up like little demons to distract you. Take an inventory of the whole list of shoulds. You should be cleaning something, fixing something, producing something, making yourself useful, changing the world, leaving your mark, earning your keep. That you should be doing something right now. Count them all up and just stop. For this moment, do nothing. You'll be okay. for just one moment, for just this one breath, breathing in, breathing out. Blessed be. Amen.
think about you in the deepening of the stillness. I close my eyes and think about you in the deepening of the stillness. I close my eyes and think about.
Today's reading is called Still the Body by Kabir. Still the body, still the mind, still the voice inside. In silence, feel the stillness move. Friends, this feeling cannot be imagined.
I want to begin with a passage from the Tao Te Ching as translated by Stephen Mitchell. The ancient masters were profound and subtle. Their wisdom was unfathomable. There's no way to describe it. All we can describe is their appearance. They were careful as someone crossing an iced-over stream, alert as a warrior in enemy territory, courteous as a guest, fluid as melting ice, shapeable as a block of wood, receptive as a valley, clear as a glass of water. Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? The master doesn't seek fulfillment. Not seeking, not expecting, she is present and can welcome all things. Thus ends our reading from the Tao Te Ching. It probably wasn't until I was in my maybe early teens that I looked up, and for the very first time, I saw clouds moving. Before that time, clouds had always just appeared to be floating still. And any time that I read about people watching clouds drift by, I thought that was just like a literary metaphor or something. Clouds were just there. Perhaps this is partly because of the weather patterns of southern Michigan, where I grew up. The skies there tend to be kind of overcast, and maybe the clouds back then just weren't very lively like they are here in Texas. But mostly I think it was because I had not yet learned to sit still long enough to notice. I had learned to examine flowers and rocks and water, but I had not yet looked up and stilled my gaze long enough. Oh, they were lovely. Billowing and sliding and blossoming and scudding. It was a moment of transcendence. All because I had just stopped and held still. The pandemic we are in the midst of is giving many of us opportunities to just be still. And this has been very hard for some of us, but it's been also very freeing for some others. One person explained, I can just sit and look outside the window with my dog and simply be a creature on this planet. For Christians, we are now in the season of Advent, which is a time of waiting, a time of moving slowly, a time of feeling almost pregnant with hope. We move deliberately, day by day, candle flame by candle flame, creating time for people to notice, perhaps find the holy in the ordinary. For both the person looking outside the window and for the person lighting an Advent candle, this is not just a time of rest, it is a time of perception. And then, what happens when we move just from being slow to being still? Nature and our brains abhor a vacuum. It's immediately upon stilling myself, many things will rush in and challenge that stillness. This is what Siddhartha encountered right before attaining enlightenment. When Siddhartha sat underneath that Bodhi tree, he did not set a timer. He sat with the intention of sitting there as long as it took. Almost immediately, the demon Mara came rushing at him with diversions and temptations and distractions. I remind myself of this when I sit still and find all of the shoulds and coulds rising up to distract me away from what is. Sometimes I wonder, though, is stillness simply a pleasant complicity in non-action or maintaining the status quo? Is seeking stillness contain a dangerous evasion away from necessary action? Perhaps. But how can you know what will be right action until you have also spent time in right contemplation? And furthermore, stillness can be terribly disruptive to the status quo and disruptive of expectations of performance and salvation through acts. Stillness meets that theology directly and insists that we are inherently worthy, that we need not transact our way into heaven. Making our bodies still can be very disruptive. During some of the protests this past summer, some people chose the most radical form of stillness, nonviolent protest. Some people simply lay face down on the pavement, hands behind their backs. They lay there to remind us, in the most vulnerable, helpless position, to remind us of how George Floyd died. To protest gun violence, some high school students have lain their bodies down to remind us how the students in Parkland, Florida, died. They protest, they lie down, they still their beautiful, life-filled bodies to snap us out of any convenient complacency. Marching is very invigorating, but lying down is terrifying to those who want to control our bodies, because it reminds them how little control they actually have. And now, there are some activists who are embracing rest as a means of resistance. They to avoid being used up or burned out or embittered by the work of change, they are engaging in the radical act of taking a nap in resistance to white supremacy culture, so that they can then rise up stronger for the work ahead. That is chosen stillness, stillness born of intention. But what about imposed stillness? some stillness happens not because we chose it, but because it chose us. Many years ago, I had surgery on my back, and everything went very well. But after the surgery, I was told I must stay in bed on my back for 6 weeks. I had to simply lie there while the rest of the world continued spinning. Our friends were wonderful. They kept our family fed. People would come and visit me. But for the most part, I spent hours all alone, unable to do much of anything. Over time, I observed many of the small, ordinary things hidden by activity. I noticed how the light slanted differently as the days progressed towards the equinox. I watched a litter of squirrel kittens peeking out of my neighbor's attic, waiting for their mother to return. I noticed how, as vines grew up around our windows, it changed the color of the light to green. I won't say that the 6 weeks just flew by. They didn't. They crept very slowly, slowly enough to allow the nerves and fascia and muscles to knit back together. And the weeks allowed me time to marvel at how my family appreciated me, needed me, but they could get along with a little bit less of me. In the end, as I tottered back into the rest of my life, I was changed, not just by the surgery, but by the rest, the suspended time, the growing awareness that I was worthy of love, even if I did nothing more productive than simply breathe and heal. So now what? We are all in a season of imposed restriction. The pandemic has placed limits upon what can be expected of each of us, and it has enforced a stillness in so many parts of our lives. Even those of us who are still working, some of us even working more than ever before, there are still limits and weird places of stillness. So for those of us who chafe and resent all of this stillness, all I can offer is that you shouldn't take it too personally. If you are worried that you're supposed to be doing more, perhaps this is a time to simply be more. For those of us who are slowly unwinding, gently yielding to reduced expectations and staring out the window to watch squirrels and clouds, let this stillness seep into your bones and nerves and muscles. Let yourself feel the gravity and then be held by this season. And for those of us who are sagging under the weight of expectations of ourselves and of our world, see what might change if the stillness causes the silt of shoulds and coulds to gently settle. Perhaps your water will turn clear enough for you to determine your next right action. For there comes a time when struggling and resisting must turn to rest, must turn from doing good to being good, must turn to the essential stillness that is acceptance of being a creature on this lovely planet. May it be so.
At this time in our service, the congregation makes its financial offering. If you have made a pledge or would like to make a contribution, you can simply mail it to our office, or you can make it online. There is a donate button on our YouTube landing page and on our website, uuamarillo.org. On the home page in the upper right corner, you will find a blue donate button that will take you to a place where you can donate securely through PayPal. If you have made a financial pledge for this year, please keep your pledge.
I'm Ann Hicks. I support a UUF just for one simple 4-letter word, love, L-O-V-E. I've been a member since 2004-05, but I knew most of the people here. I've been able to form deep and lasting relationships and friendships here. I think when you love something, you cherish it. When you cherish it, you take care of it. And that's what I try and do.
While we are not meeting in person, our groups are still meeting. Please check the announcement slide at the beginning and end of this service, and look in your weekly newsletter for details and links. We will have several special events in the next few weeks, including a holiday concert to raise money for Housing First Amarillo, a live story time on Christmas Eve, a New Year's Day tailgate party, and some special worship services. Please check out your newsletter for all the details. Our stewardship drive is wrapping up. At present, we have received 31 pledges totaling $101,000, but we still have a way to go. We need all pledges to be sent in by the end of the year, ahead of our January meeting, to vote on the budget. If you have any questions about making a pledge, please contact the office. We keep mentioning our newsletter, but if you don't receive it, that's not much help. To be added to our mailing list, simply go to our website, uuamarillo.org, go up to the news section, and click on the subscribe button to sign up. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
May the fellowship of this hour touch and move our lives until we come again together.
As you go out into this world, please take these words with you. You are essential to this world. You are essential to all of the creation, perishing, and recreation of each moment of this world. May you know how fully you belong and are beloved in this world. Go in peace. Blessed be.